You're listening to Convenience Matters, brought to you by NACS. We'll talk about what we see at stores and what the future may hold for our industry.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for listening to Convenience Matters. My name is Chris Blasinsky with NACS, and today I'm joined by my good friend and colleague, Leroy Kelsey, who is the Director of Research here. Between Leroy and I, we've got over 30 years of experience here at NACS, but we started when we were about 12 years old, so...
Wow.
Yeah, we were babies coming out of high school. Well, grade school, really. But anyway, today we are going inside the mind of convenience store shoppers to learn more about why they shop our stores at each stage of their path to purchase. We'll look at what they're looking for, whether they found it, and why they chose their local C-store or a competitor down the street to fulfill their needs. So we have a lot to dig into. So with that, here's Leroy. What's up, Leroy? Welcome.
Hi, Chrissy. It's a pleasure to be back on.
Yes, you are a frequent guest.
I appreciate the opportunity. Anytime I can talk about the channel and what's happening, especially when I think there's so much anticipated excitement in terms of reconnecting. I think our customers are looking forward to our peak season, which is coming up, our kind of 100 days of summer.
Yes, our summer drive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that there's going to be, as we come out of what I would call peak season in terms of the winter for COVID cases and just issues with health in general, I think that people are ready to get mobile again and reconnect. And so I'll talk about some of that. And
yes, they are
optimistic.
They are. And I think we saw some of that optimism coming out of, the pandemic in 2020 at our NACS State of the Industry Summit when we revealed all of our big, huge financial and operational performance metrics, including the presentation that you gave, which is on our program called Convenience Voices. And I know you've been working on that program we rebranded it. So before, when it was the old brand, you've been doing this for well over a decade. So you're a wealth of knowledge on how convenience store shoppers think, the path to purchase, their purchasing decisions, where they make them, and then what they ultimately do. And so it's a great program to kind of just figure out the why, and you put a lot of time and energy. I got to see you sweating bullets a little bit putting your presentation together, but you always do a phenomenal job on stage.
Yeah.
So we know that every customer is on a path to purchase,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
So what do we know specifically about our convenience store shoppers? Do they walk in the door already knowing what they want? Is it premeditated? Where do they make these decisions? What is the data or the research tell?
Yeah, no, thank you for queuing that up. As you know, one of the things that makes us unique as a channel is, 80% of what we sell gets consumed within the hour, 65% before the customer even leaves the parking lot. So they're already sampling the products as they leave. And I think that immediacy is one of the reasons why we chose mobile intercepts to talk to people. We wanted to capture that retail moment of truth. And so when we talk to our attendees, our colleagues that are in the convenience industry at the State of the Industry Summit this year, and I really stress that there are 4 shopper trends that need to be shaping their strategy. And you just touched on one of those, which is we believe that digital is going to continue to influence every stage of the customer or the buyer's journey. And so I spent some time talking about the details of that. And one of the things that I thought was most interesting is when you look at where shoppers decide to purchase, and we ask them, you're here today, where did you decide to purchase? Was it before they left where they're coming from? Was it before today? In other words, was it a premeditated purchase decision? Was it en route? So while they were driving or walking, or once they got to a location where they could actually see the store, maybe they're not there. Think about our signs that very transparent. We uniquely show our prices on signage even before the customer gets on site in terms of fuel, or was it on site, in the forecourt, in the parking lot, or inside the store where they made the purchase? And surprisingly, only 19% of shoppers, or about 1 out of 5, said, "Hey, I decided to make my purchase on site." So the lion's share of those purchase decisions actually happened before the customer even left where they're coming from, or even before that day. So 43% of shoppers said, "Hey, I made the decision to buy before I left." And so that was a really interesting data point. And what it suggests to me is when we look at digital, we feel like digital, whether it be using our loyalty programs in terms of apps, whether it be geofencing to contact customers, or whether it be coupons or special offers that we've issued to them that they can come and redeem digitally, we think that digital is extending the retail runway. And so what we mean by that is, instead of being restricted to 4 walls in terms of that 19%, as far as building relationships with your shoppers, you'll be able to build relationships with your shoppers before that day based on their past experience. You'll be able to build relationships based on what what your brand promise is, how they perceive your brand, and also be able to build relationships en route, with shoppers as well, using digital technology. And so we really wanted to drive that point home. In fact, whether you're investing in digital technology to build relationships with shoppers in that premeditated stage or that en route stage, those relationships are already happening. They're developing, whether you're proactive about it or not. And the way we kind of illustrated that is we found that 19% of the shoppers that we talked to that told us that they search for a product or service on a digital device in order to select the convenience store that they visited today. Mm-hmm. And so that told us that shoppers are not only very premeditated, but they're using digital to identify which offers are going to be in their consideration set. Which retail offers are they going to go to? Are you famous for great coffee or pastry that goes with that coffee for a breakfast occasion? Are you famous for a food service offer that could provide a great lunch experience for a shopper? So they're doing the math in their head in terms of what your historic brand promise is and what type of experience they can expect from you. And that runway, or that approach to the actual purchase, is going to get longer thanks to digital technology.
Right. I love that quote. I wrote it down when you said it, that digital will expand the retail runway beyond the 4 walls of your store. And, when we started at NACS in the early 2000s, iPhones were just getting their start. So we've seen a lot of growth and a lot of opportunity in this channel. And I think today retailers are capitalizing on those opportunities way more than we could have predicted that they would have in the past.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. If there's any silver lining to retail in total having to pivot because of the pandemic, I think that's the key. We've sped the development curve up, and we've invested in technology because it was a necessity. When we tried to reduce friction between shoppers and being able to make their purchases. But a byproduct of that is, we've seen shoppers adopt our digital apps and our loyalty at a much higher clip. We're above 50% in terms of the shoppers that have convenience loyalty on a mobile device. And the beauty of that is, when we talk about that digital search and the digital relationship, 79% of those shoppers that conducted a digital search did so on a mobile phone. So really plays into our recent strengths, and there's a ton of upside in terms of continuing to develop that relationship and make sure that our channel remains competitive.
Yeah. And it's not just the younger generation, right? You guys actually found that the baby boomers are heavy mobile users in finding convenience stores.
Absolutely. So we looked at that digital device that was used for digital search to select stores across generations. And what we found was the pandemic really democratized digital influence across all generations. But there were specific devices that got more traction with specific generations. For example, we noticed that boomers had the highest incidence of using car navigation systems to perform their search for convenience stores. So we also noticed that
because they can afford the cars.
Absolutely, they can afford the cars. Exactly.
Yeah, 3/4 of the wealth in the country is with the boomers.
Exactly, and they they have a tendency, in terms of making their decision, in terms of when we look at the buyer's path to purchase, 39% of their purchase decisions were made en route. So they're traveling, they're en route, and they're making a purchase decision. And by the way, they index higher in terms of car navigation. So we can really start to unlock growth opportunities if we implement purposeful placements along that buyer's journey. So if I know that a boomer is going to make, 39% are going to make purchase decisions en route, and I know that 18% prefer to do digital searches on a car navigation device, then I can start to give them little reminders that, hey, stop in and pick up those last minute necessities for your barbecue this 4th, or stop in and pick up a nice adult beverage to go with your occasion to reconnect with friends or family.
Right. Grab that 4-pack of sparkling wine.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. So that's going to be key moving forward.
Yeah. The, I think what you're touching on also is that it seems like consumers are much more intentional with their time.
Yes.
And their choices of where to shop, right? And they're much better at using digital to make those decisions ahead of time, so that when they get to where they're going, they find exactly what they want.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I'm saying. And that's we've even seen that not just in terms of inside the store, but also in the forecourt. When people are going to be purchasing gasoline, especially if we see prices increase moving into the summer, which we typically will see a little bit of a float in terms of more expensive blends of fuel. Just in terms
of coming out of the winter months into the summer blends. Exactly. Yeah, there's always a little spike
Exactly.
there.
So thinking about that, it's going to be important to communicate to the shopper even before they come inside the store. And so one of the things that we found is that customized promotions can do a great job with communicating value to shoppers in a relevant way. So digital kind of helps with that. The other thing that we found is there's a significant number of shoppers that feel like they don't have enough time to stop in. In other words, they typically shop convenience, but they perceive that because they don't have enough time on this occasion, they can't actually shop. And so leveraging some of our what we would call last mile or ways for shoppers to connect with products. So think about curbside picking up product, or think about pre-ordering products that shoppers can then go inside and pick up.
Like click and collect.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Or BOP, as some people talk about, buy online and then pick up in person. But those occasions are going to really help to save time. And we made significant investments as a channel to upgrade those services because of COVID, allowing people to stop in and connect with product in unique and new ways. And that's going to continue. And that's a great strategy for us to use for those time-starved folks.
Yeah, which is, kind of comes full circle, right? Because our older time metrics study, which was done, quite some time ago, no pun intended, showed that, it took a customer about 3 minutes and 33 seconds to park, get out of their car, do what they need to do inside the store, and make the purchase and leave. It's not a lot of time. So now we're talking about, we're even more time starved than that, under 4 minute time frame.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're right. And we're uniquely faced with that, when you look at immediate consumption trips above 40 minutes, I mean, not immediate, but future consumption like grocery above 40 minutes on average, it's a different type of challenge in terms of getting feedback from the shopper, right? We have a very finite window to get the type of feedback that we need to continuously improve and to raise the profile of our overall experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, experience, I think, that is the key, right? Is the experience at the store. Because as long as, hearkening back on the good old days when you and I started at NACS again, the age old question has always been, how do you get the fuel customer inside the store? Right? Because they're missing out. They're missing out on great shopping opportunities for food, for new products, new packaging, innovation, all this stuff that our channel has a great opportunity and luxury sometimes of being first to market with. And if you're so time starved that all you can do is get gas and go away, the customer's really missing out on all the great things that are happening inside the store.
Oh, you're right. Absolutely. And not just with time, but also with their budget. A higher percentage of shoppers are telling us they aren't coming in to shop on occasions because they're on a limited or strict budget, or because they perceive that the products, inside the store are expensive. So we've always had a premium associated with the convenience that we deliver. And so for some shoppers, they want to connect with products, but they perceive they may not be able to. And so one of the things that we think is going to be a good strategy moving forward for those folks that are on a limited budget is communicating promotions, custom promotions, discounts, rewards, things that communicate value to shoppers. And a couple of fun facts, 30% of shoppers noticed promotions while visiting convenience stores, so we're aware of promotions. And 15% of those noticed promotions were received via mobile. So the shopper will be actively looking for value. And so we have both kind of traditional ways to communicate value in the forecourt, whether it be pump screens, A-frames, pump toppers, bollard signs, all types of different ways. But we have some new ways as well, thinking about that digital runway, ways we can take advantage of customization. And then finally, I'll say, 71% of shoppers also said, hey, they would likely purchase a private label or value brand from the convenience store that they're shopping. So without taking focus on the core and take focus away from the core and national brands that we use for our shoppers, there are opportunities for appropriate value brands or private labels to play a role as well. To communicate value.
Absolutely. You just want to go back to the word experience, because you touched on something during your presentation around gas prices, right? Like, we know historically that people will shop for gas based on the price, right? There's no other that I know of. There's no other, retail channel in the world that posts their price on the street. So you can either say that's great or you can keep driving, right?
Isn't that something?
But your Convenience Voices research found that 31% of fuel shoppers are selecting a site on price only.
Yes.
Right? So that's not the majority. So experience seems to be having some influence on just price alone.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm glad you touched on that. So that's pretty impactful because we've done research. You know this. You've played a part in communicating the results of our fuel studies that show how significant people will make a left-hand turn across traffic to save 2 cents a gallon or something like that, 2 to 5 cents. So price is a motivator. The point that we wanted to drive home was that price alone will be less of a factor than price as a part or a contributing component of your overall brand. So are you competitively priced, and do you deliver consistent service to customers? Do you have quality products? Are you in stock? Do you have friendly staff?
Is your store
clean? Is your store clean, right? Is your parking lot clean?
Is your bathroom clean?
Exactly. So there are all these touch points that are part of the experience that are key. When we looked at price was actually ranked number 4, price alone, in terms of fuel customers that chose a convenience store. But what was interesting is once you got past a distressed trip, so I'm running out of fuel, I need to stop in and get gas, and this is the closest location. Once we got past that distressed occasion, the next thing was familiarity with a location. So this is the brand, this is the type of experience that I can expect based on historic performance. And that was really the key for driving folks into parking lots and into the store. And that's going to be key moving forward.
Yeah. Leroy, this is the most in-depth and comprehensive research available on our channel. And that's my biased and honest opinion, because I do work at NACS. But I really do believe that, the data that you guys have collected over the years is phenomenal. And a lot of work and time goes into it, and a lot of, retail member and supplier member engagement to make this data what it is. And how can our listeners find you and find more about Convenience Voices?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are located on the NACS website. So if you go to www.convenience.org/voices, you can get to us. Or search on the NACS homepage under research, and you'll find Convenience.
Absolutely. Very good. So before I let you go, I'm going to put you on the spot for a little bit of trivia. You hear our fun music? I have a gut feeling you may not know the answer to this, just because I know you, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So it's going to be a sports trivia question, and you and I are both decent in sports, but this may be the one that we're not. So, all right, here we go. I'm going to give you a question, and then you're going to get 4 options. All right, and if you get it right, I'll buy you lunch. All right. The NBA allows ads on player jerseys. Which NBA team jersey features a NACS retail member ad? Is it 7-Eleven with the Dallas Mavericks? Is it the Atlantic Hawks with Racetrack? Is it the Oklahoma City Thunder with Loves? Or is it the Philadelphia 76ers with Wawa?
Ooh. I'm going to go with Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, you're wrong, Leroy. You're wrong. It's actually Oklahoma City Thunder.
Awesome.
So there you have it.
Got a new wrinkle
I knew you and I
brain.
would both not get this correct, and that's the beauty and the fun of trivia.
Yes,
but I'll still buy you lunch because you are one of my favorite people.
Thank you so much for that.
We've been working together for a long time, and hopefully, later on we'll have you on another episode so that we can delve more into the Convenience Voices research, because it is a wealth of knowledge in getting inside the minds of convenience store shoppers and their path to purchase.
Likewise, you're one of my favorites as well, and looking forward to
Well, thank you everyone for listening to Convenience Matters, and you can find us at conveniencematters.com, or you can subscribe to get our podcasts fed to you weekly through your favorite podcast player. So thanks very much.
Convenience Matters is brought to you by NACS and produced in partnership with Human Factor. For more information, visit convenience.org.